So what I'd like to talk about now with Dan and Sheriff Clarke is a little bit of baseball. I had a segment for y'all that was mostly geared towards my dad before I realized he was not going to be here, which was basically that Rob Manfred said he was too lenient on the Astros. And I figured I would just give my father 5 minutes to complain about the Yankees and how they cheated too, and how the Astros was a scapegoat, blah, blah, blah. But he's not here. And I mean, I'm an Astros fan, but I don't feel that strongly about it. I mean, I feel like it was pretty egregious what we were doing. So I'm not as angry as he is about that whole situation, which took place now 5 or 6 years ago. I mean, at least the cheating did. We won the World Series in 2017. So I'd like to switch gears, unless you guys have strong thoughts on this, and talk just a little bit about some of the baseball stories. And I'd like to kind of stay in the National League and maybe just the NL Central. Sheriff Clarke, we'll start with the Cubs. 3.5 games out of first, maybe 2.5. I'm not sure where they landed last night. This is a team that has a winning record in June, moving in the right direction. Can the Cubs challenge the Reds? And then, Dan, we're going to talk about the Reds here in a minute, because that's another interesting story.
Sure.
Well, I think they can. As you know, starting from opening day in April, I think best case scenario for the Cubs, I said this at the time, was stay around 500 and then hope to catch fire. After July 4, I said I'd take a look. I said Memorial Day, I'd take my first peek. July 4, or the All-Star game, which is about 10 days later, is the second peak that I look at, or the second period of time that I look at. This post Memorial Day, the Cubs have been playing at least some competitive baseball again, and inching back toward 500. Now, that might not seem like a big deal to a lot of teams, but it is a big deal to the Cubs because of the division that they're in. And you just didn't want them to fall out of sight before the All-Star break or July 4th. So they didn't play last night. They lost a half game because the Reds won, but they're playing St. Louis in London. I don't know what that stuff's about.
Yeah, that's right.
But just, I'm going to stay with it, hang around 500. There's a couple games now below 500. If they can just get up just a little above 500 or above by July 4, they'll be in the running. I don't know if they'll be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. It'll be some of it will be based on their record, but I'm at least optimistic right now, and only because the division is still within reach.
It is. They're playing better baseball. They got a winning record this month. They were 10-18 in May, but they kind of stayed around 500 in April. Now, Dan, the Reds win a big game against Atlanta last night, 11-10. Atlanta, always a strong ball club. Mm-hmm. The Reds are kind of on everybody's tongue right now. Like, everybody's talking about this exciting new team in Cincinnati. What is making the Reds so dominant? It's not like they have the best record in baseball, but this is a team that we're not used to seeing this type of success, at least right now. What's making the Reds so successful?
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like every time this team needs a big hit, they come up with something from somewhere down the lineup. I mean, De La Cruz saw him hitting for the cycle last night. Joey Votto rediscovering his power with 2 big home runs. I mean, everything seems to just be coming up Cincinnati's way at this point. And with how wide open this division is, you go on a win streak of 6 or 7 games, and suddenly you're in first, and the Reds have now put together 12, which could pay some real dividends for Cincinnati, because the city is starting to get behind the Reds, which is a big turnaround for where this team was back in April. You look at where Cincinnati was 2 months ago, April 17th, they actually set a low for attendance at Great American Ballpark. They drew just 7,000 fans one night, and they go on this win streak, and suddenly their fan base is back behind them again. And that could make going to Cincinnati a very tough assignment for teams for the rest of the season. So with the way that the Reds are hitting the ball right now, that confidence is just going to permeate through the lineup, and that could be a real problem for the rest of the division if somebody doesn't get a couple games off Cincinnati quick. The longer this goes on, the more confident the Reds are going to get.
Yeah. I mean, Cincinnati they're a sports town. They love the Bengals too, but they're a baseball town. And when the Reds
Also
are
a
good,
soccer town.
Yeah, that's true. When the Reds are good, they show out. And it's a lot of fun to go to a game in Cincinnati. And I think that this team will be a force to be reckoned with. Small payroll too. You know, a lot of stuff has been going around about how their third highest paid player on their roster or in their salary structure is Ken Griffey Jr., who has not played baseball since 2010. He's making $3.6 million this year.
Those contracts are fun for the Twitter crowd, but some of those really just need to die. Like the whole Mets Bobby Bonilla thing that gets joked about every year in July, but that deal brought the Mets David Wright, and there's not a Mets fan alive who would have said no to David Wright if it meant paying what they are. And Ken Griffey Jr., it's the same thing. Like, it's a common practice for teams to tie up bum salary down the road. So, like,
yeah, especially in baseball, where like it's a little bit of the Wild West when it comes to how you can structure salary. That's not always the case in football or basketball because of the salary cap and some other stuff.
Yeah,
some of those taxes. But baseball. I mean, yeah, those guys they pay out over a long period of time. Any Reds fan would be happy to still be paying Ken Griffey Jr. as much money as possible for the excitement that he provided that town when he was playing baseball there. So always fun to see. Definitely.
I'm sorry. I'm not ready to give the Cincinnati fans any credit. They're bandwagoners. I mean, for heaven's sakes, yeah, they're winning now, but so are the Pittsburgh Pirates to start the year. And as quickly as it can come, it can go away. And I'm waiting, and I'm predicting the drop off at some point. You regress back toward the means. They're a young club, a couple of nice players, but the fans, yeah, they're showing up now. But everybody loves a winner. I look at the Cubs. Even during their years of futility, when it took them 100 years to win a World Series, they were still filling up Wrigley Field, 35,000 every game, even when they weren't. That to me is a real fan. These fans in Cincinnati. You watch if the Reds go into an 11-game losing streak, they'll be back down around 10,000 showing up.
Well, Sheriff, I think it's also partially because Chicago is such a huge market compared to Cincinnati, and with the addition of FC Cincinnati in the past couple of years, that market's gotten a little bit choked. So it is a little harder for Cincinnati to fill it up. You do have a good point there about the fan base, but there's also just a lot more dollars available in Chicago.
Yeah, but it wasn't the case in, back in the 70s and 80s and even a little bit of the 90s with the big red machine. It was the same small market.
True, but FC Cincinnati didn't exist yet, and prices weren't anywhere near what they are today back in the 70s.
This is true.
Spoken like a true fan of a rival baseball club. I know if my dad was here, he would be saying the same thing about the Rangers fan base. As he would never give them any credit for showing up to anything, even though I'm sure there's plenty of rabid Dallas fans.
This is the beauty of me being on the neutral party here. All my teams are on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah, that definitely helps at times. Although we can get into some of the soccer stuff, and it might not. So
nobody cares about my Finnish team.
Jack, just tell your dad to stop betting the Cubs. That's when they start to go south.
Yeah, I know you guys had a little dust up this week, but he's not going to stop. And I'm telling you, when it gets to football, it's going to be worse because he's going to be picking the Cowboys -20, and it's going to infuriate you because they're going to get blown out. Whenever he picks them, they're going to lose. And he's going to be like, oh, the Cowboys, how can you, with the better team always wins.
-20. He's going to play an alternate spread?
Yeah. No, he wouldn't play an alternate spread. He doesn't even know what those are, but
I know.
But yeah. So, look, we'll see. He can be used to winning. One thing I want to talk about when it comes to winning is a while ago, this was back in May, we had one of our Godzilla Wins sweepstakes. And we have been remiss to announce the winner. This is Candace M from California. She won $5,000 in our jackpot sweepstakes at Godzilla Wins. So if you're interested in entering that sweepstakes, we do one every couple months. There's one live right now. You can go to GodzillaWins.com and you can find the sweepstakes at the very top. There's like a little banner ad. You just click that and it'll allow you to enter your name and information. And I believe in October is when the next sweepstakes comes out. So we want to thank Candace for playing there and for winning. We want to congratulate her on the big win from GodzillaWins.com. That sweepstakes is always very popular. And so we're happy to do it for our fan base. Okay, we got 5 minutes here. Dan, I know you got some MLB picks for us.
Yep.
So I don't. I'm picked out after we get to baseball. So, take a couple minutes. Tell us who you like today or this weekend for baseball.
All right. Well, first thing I'm going to start with is that London game between St. Louis and the Cubs. And I'm going to go with Adam Wainwright over 3.5 strikeouts. He's pitched into the 6th inning in 5 of his past 6 starts, but that one's a wild card because nobody knows how this London Park is going to play. The last time they were here, it was home run after home run. They've moved the fences back, so that should change things a little bit. And the Cubs just strike out far too often. I believe they're 6th highest K rate in baseball. So Wainwright, this is a fairly low number. If he pitches 5 innings, he should get to 4 strikeouts. Next up, I'm going to go to the south side of Chicago and take the Red Sox on the money line. James Paxton is pitching pretty well, and Lance Lynn is, not. So even though the White Sox are at home, I like Boston minus 110 here. I think the Red Sox can get to Lynn and get a few runs on the board, take control of this game. Next up, I'll go with the Tigers team total over 3.5. Things are going wrong right now for Pablo Lopez. He started the year pitching very well, but it just has not worked the last few starts. And Detroit's offense, for the most part, is hitting the ball fairly well. The Tigers have gotten over 3 runs in 9 of their past 12 games, and I think they can do it again here. On the other side of the coin, Angels Rockies under 12.5. The Rocky Mountain lows are back again. The under is cashed in 5 of the past 7 games at Coors Field, and I think people see this matchup and think Denver, elevation, Shohei Ohtani, a lot of runs. It hasn't been working that way. So both pitchers have been doing pretty well. So I think this total is too high, and 12.5 under is the play here. And then finally, I'm going to go with let's see, need to double check this line, but Cincinnati and Atlanta have now met 4 times, and every game has been decided by 1 run. So the Reds are once again the underdog. So I'm going to take them on the run line here. That saved me last night when I decided, you know what, I don't completely trust Atlanta or Cincinnati in this matchup. I'm going to go with the trend here and back the Reds plus 1.5. Reds won the game anyway and did it by 1 run. So I'm going to play the percentages again here and take Cincinnati plus 1.5 at home.
So Wainwright, interesting bet there, the over 3.5 strikeouts. And that game is played in London, which I know Sheriff Clarke is extremely excited about. His team traveling all the way across the pond to play a baseball game in June. Couldn't be more excited for some sort of gimmick like that. So we love the Wainwright pick there. I will stand in for my father, and I'll pick the Cubs in that game. Minus 1.5 on the run line there at plus 105.
Thanks.
The Fredericks curse is going to be like my Pittsburgh red card curse.
I'll give you my analysis too. This will be in the John Fredericks voice. So let's see. The Cardinals don't have a winning record, so they suck. Adam Wainwright is a weasel because he used to strike out the Astros, so he sucks. The Cubs are over 500 in the month of June, so they don't suck. And they're playing in London, which means nothing. So that would be, as someone who posts his articles all the time, that's about as close I can get to his analysis there. And he wouldn't take the run line. He would take the money line minus 130. But I'll take the run line here because I think the Cubs blow them out by at least 2 runs or more. So good luck, Sheriff. I hope the Fredericks curse does not live on today. And if they win today, and on that run line, then I will continue to pick them until they lose. We want to thank Sheriff Clarke and Dan Angell for being here to talk baseball with us, as well as basketball. We want to thank James Tillman III for being with us for our NBA, Sean George for the College World Series, and of course, Patrick Asselon. If you are in Virginia, one of the things I need you to do right before we leave here is I need you to go to Rosie's Gaming Emporium. This is the best gaming in the state of Virginia, and they've paid out over $475 million in jackpots so far this year. Actually, really a lot more than that. Rosie's Rewards and jackpots, you can go to rosiesrewards.com, Rosie's Gaming Emporium, rosierewards.com if you're in Virginia, and you can sign up for their rewards. They give out over $1,000 in free play at times, $25 to $1,000 in free play. You can learn more about this promotion. Go to Rosie's Rewards and Jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. That's rosiesgaming.com. Horse racing for Rosie's starts July 13th at Colonial Downs. My father will be there locked in. He'll be there live. We'll be doing a show. He loves the horses. We love Rosie's as well. So go to rosiesgaming.com. Sign up for your free play in rewards. I want to thank everyone for a wonderful show. Good luck this weekend. Have a great Saturday and Sunday. And we are in the War Room with Steve Bannon coming up next.